Jananam sukadham maranam karunam milanam maduram smaranam karunam kalavasyaadhiha sakalam karunam samayadipate akilam karunam. Good evening everyone. I said good evening. I thought you're not already on talking terms with me. When we stand upon threshold of great possibilities, one who has the necessary insight will see unique opportunities. One who lacks that insight but functions out of hindsight will tremble in anxiety of uncertainty. When we step into new terrain, people experience it as uncertainty. Uncertainty is just this, that you're in a situation that you do not know how to handle. If we are walking fast, we will be constantly in new territory or terrain or uncertainty. Uncertainty is also a new possibility. It is just one's inability to handle new terrain which makes you conclude that something is uncertain. Uncertainty or the experience of uncertainty is essentially because most people are in a state of compulsive reactions to the situations in which they exist. That is, not understanding the nature of the world that we live in is essentially uncertain. Do what you want, never ever will the world will be just the way you want it. Forget about the world. Even if you're two people in the family, the other will not be just the way you want them to be. It's not worked yet. Unless you're still such a hopeless romantic that you're still hoping that there will be somebody who will be just the way you want them to be. No, believe me, I have enough experience in life. Nobody will ever happen 100% the way you want them. So if you do not understand this, then in reaction to external situations, your very experience of life will become uncertain. To handle uncertainty, we should not handle uncertainty, we just have to handle reality the way it is. Because uncertainty or the experience of uncertainty is just a conclusion that we have made in our minds. Actually, there is just a situation. Those who do not know how to handle these situations label them as uncertainties, problems. There are no problems in the world, there are just situations. Some we know how to handle, some we do not know how to handle. We're yet to learn. And what is a problem for one person is a possibility for another person. If we want to handle life just the way it is, trying to make an uncertain phenomena into certainty is never going to work. To handle this, people fall back onto one common prescription. One thing is they start making predictions. People keep asking me all the time, Sadhguru, where will India be in 2020? Where will it be in 2030? The choice is this: do you want a plan or do you want a prediction? Are you someone who is capable of making a plan and executing a plan, or are you someone who makes predictions? You make predictions, obviously because you do not have the ability to make a plan and fulfill the plan. Prediction means you are trying to bring certainty in your mind. You're trying to handle your psychological turbulence with a certain certainty. Somebody goes to the astrologer, somebody prays, somebody utters a mantra. These are all tricks as to how to prevent storms in our life. One way is to struggle to prevent storms. Another way is get skilled enough that you learn to ride the storm. If you have learned to ride the storm, storm is not a problem. But most people try to prevent the storm, and that will never happen, which will make us complacent and unrealistic in our approach to life. Our ability to handle new terrain all the time comes if we have a certain sense of equanimity and insight into the situations in which we exist. When I say equanimity, once again, people try to achieve it in so many different ways. Many tricks are there. It happened once. You okay? If I tell you a little story? You're getting very serious. When you're very serious, you cannot handle uncertainty. Shankaran Pillai was a very abusive husband. He used to flare up and verbally abuse his wife, but she was very calm and took everything perfectly well. One day, in the middle of a flurry of abuse, he suddenly stopped and said, "I've been constantly abusing you, but you're always calm. You have never reacted, you're very peaceful. How do you do this?" She said, "I clean the toilet." I said, "What? What is cleaning the toilet got to do with you being peaceful?" She said, "I use your toothbrush." There are many tricks. But these tricks give you a certain sense, but then it'll get you embroiled into various kinds of inner situations. If one has to really be competent to handle new terrain or uncertainty, one should have equanimity. Equanimity is not something that you aspire for. This is a big problem with today's world, that we have become very goal-oriented. Goal-oriented means we are interested in the mango, you know. Being Indians, we can't help talking about mangoes in this time of the year, okay? We want the mango, but we are not interested in the tree. That's not how life works. If we nurture the tree, mangoes will fall upon our head. If we dream of a mango, we'll just have to dream about it, it will never come into our lives. So equanimity is not something that you aspire for, it is a consequence of you being in a state of unprejudiced mind. If your mindscape is completely unprejudiced, then you naturally are equanimous. Being unprejudiced means you have not identified anything as good and bad, you have not identified anything as high and low, you have not even identified something as God and devil. You are willing to look at everything just the way it is. You see everything just the way it is. Your judgments come from conscious humanity, not from morality that you have taken up in your life. This is something which we are constantly trying to bring into people's lives as to how to be unprejudiced. I must tell you this. My daughter, my girl, traveled with me since she was 3.5 months old alone with me. So I drove across India with C on the passenger seat, my left hand on her and my right foot always down to the floor. We traveled India in many ways. So every day we're in a new home. There is a problem in the world. Most adults are always eager the moment they see a child, they want to teach the child something. They want to teach them something that's not worked in their life. Because obviously whatever they know has not worked in their life, because between your child and yourself, if you see who is more joyful, obviously the child. So definitely, you don't know anything that the child doesn't know about life. You may know survival tricks, but you don't know how to be. But people are always busy teaching. So I told them, nobody will teach this girl ABC, 1, 2, 3, Mary had a little lamb, nothing like this, because I don't care whether Mary had a lamb or not. So no teaching. So nobody taught her anything, because nobody pays any attention and tries to teach her anything. She was all ears by the time she's 18 months. She's speaking 3 languages very fluently. When she was 12, 13 years of age, she came back from school and she was little disturbed about something that happened there. And then she came to me and said, "You're teaching everybody so many things, you never taught me anything." I said, "Well, I'm not known to teach unsolicited. Here you have come, now this is all. This is all you have to know. Never look up to anybody." Then she looked at me like this, "What about you?" kind of thing. I said, "Not even me. Because the value of who I am, you will completely miss if you look up to me. If you see me as I am, you will see something else. Don't look up to anybody, don't look down on anybody, and that's all. If you do not distort your mind by placing something high, placing something low, you will see that you will have a very profound insight into life, just seeing it the way it is. Once you see everything just the way it is, your ability to navigate through life will be effortless. Because you have all kinds of exaggerations in your mind, you cannot see things the way they are, and being equanimous becomes a great challenge. Today, even so-called spiritual leaders are going about saying that peace is the highest goal of your life. Such people will only rest in peace. Because I'm asking you a simple question. If you want to enjoy your dinner tonight, even if you're not ecstatic, at least you must be peaceful, isn't it? Hello? If you want to enjoy a couple of people in your family, their company, at least you must be peaceful. If you want to enjoy the work that you do, you must at least be peaceful. If you want to enjoy a walk on the street, at least you must be peaceful. So I'm asking you, is peace the highest goal, or is it the most fundamental requirement? It is the most fundamental requirement. People have exported these things to heaven. If you say peace, people say divine peace. If you say joy, people say divine joy. If you say love, people say divine love. We do not know whether God is capable of these things or not. But we know human beings are capable of these things if they keep their sense in place. They can be peaceful, they can be joyful, they can be loving if they keep their marbles in place. So uncertainty is not the issue. Uncertainty is the possibility. If you are in a place where there is no uncertainty, this means this is a place with no possibilities. Those who are apprehensive about uncertainties, or those who are apprehensive about new territories or new terrain, such people will always wish for status quo. The youngest or the most youthful demographic on the planet is India right now. With such a youthful demographics, if you seek status quo, it's just not going to work for you anyway. And above all, over 50% of the population is still not even adequately nourished. If you seek Status quo, it's a crime. So status quo is not an answer, but the moment you fear uncertainty, you will pitch for status quo anyway. You want things to be as they are, nothing should change. We're seeing this in the country, any step that you take. For every solution, people have a problem. Because they're afraid of any change. It doesn't matter what is the change, any change they're afraid of it. You will see every time some step is taken in the country, people protest, people cry, because they have a problem with every solution. So, the nature of our existence itself is such that if we are equipped with equanimity and insight into life, then we love uncertainties, we want to be in new terrain every day. But if we do not equip ourselves with this capability, then we fear uncertainty. We're talking about uncertain times now in 21st century. Obviously, we have no sense of history, we have no sense of life in the past. Never before life has been as certain as it is today. Never before. Never before life was as organized as it is today. Never before survival process on the planet was as organized as it is today. Yes? Never before. And today we are talking about uncertainty. This shows us what is the state of our mind. If we want to equip ourselves, if we want to handle big situations, right now people have aspirations to get to places and do things, but we are not creating a process in the society to upgrade this one. It is like, we have a racetrack close by, unfortunately Formula One has gone out of it, but because we think Formula One is entertainment, it's not a sport in this country. That's the reason why it's out, You want to be on Formula One track, but all you have is a Maruti 800. If you try those speeds, 4 wheels will fly in 4 different directions. You should not aspire for a result. You should equip this. If this becomes that kind of a machine, speed will be a natural consequence. But without equipping or upgrading the machine, if you try to go fast, you will crack up. This is what is happening with a whole lot of people. They get into situations out of their ambitions, they get into situations because they want to be better than somebody. There are huge aspirations, but there is not enough work on the individual human being. We are always thinking equipping ourselves means with information. Information or even so-called education is not going to take you very far. Competence comes because you're constantly upgrading this machine. If this machine is upgraded, it will do things effortlessly. I'm always looking, where is the goddamn challenge in life? Though I'm doing 1,000 different things, I don't find anything challenging. So I end up doing dangerous things, because I don't find anything challenging anywhere. Because I spent a lot of time invested on upgrading this machine, I'm not finding enough activity to challenge me. This is what should happen, that you have upgraded yourself in such a way that what you have to do happens like play, not like hard work. If this has to happen, there has to be a certain amount of investment on individual human beings. Right now, our idea of education is like an assembly line, that we're doing something and letting them go out of education systems without doing much on individual upgradation of the human being as such. People want to do great things. Just yesterday I was talking to somebody and he's heading some… he's having some kind of a new enterprise. I asked him, how many hours do you sleep? He said, 8 hours, as per the prescription. I said, 1/3 of your bloody life you're sleeping away and you want to be a great entrepreneur. Doesn't work like that. Why are you sleeping 8 hours a day? Suppose you have a car which needs service 10 days of the month. Is this a car, useful car or a nuisance car? It's a nuisance car. 8 hours a day is 10 days in a month, isn't it? 1/3 of your life. Now, doctors have told me, well, doctors have told you looking at you and looking at themselves. But what I'm telling you is, there is a way to upgrade this machine in such a way, it can go on. When everybody thinks it's done, you can simply go on effortlessly. You know, people around you, if you do the right things, I would say if you invest 30 to 40 minutes a day towards upgradation of who you are, we can provide you the technologies. If you upgrade yourself, invest 30 to 40 minutes, you will see your sleep quota will come down. Immediately, within 6 weeks, it will come down at least by 1.5 to 3 hours. And above all, you get so sorted out in your mind, what you could do in 8 hours, you will do it in 2 to 3 hours' time. I'm not saying something else. I will show you, not just me, thousands of people around me who work like this. It looks like… see, it's like this. Our life is a combination of time and energy. Time is ticking away for all of us at the same pace. You can't stop it. People are talking about time management. I think they must be Kal Bhairavs or Mahakalas. How can anybody manage time? It runs for all of us at the same pace. Can you stop it? Can you slow it down? Can you make it go faster? It is just that in your experience it may be so. If you're a very joyful person, you will see this on a particular day. If you're very joyful, 24 hours passed away like that, like a moment. Another day you're a little depressed, 24 hours feels like 10 years. Has it happened to you? So only miserable people have a long life. Yes. If you're a joyful person, before you know what's happening, you know, people are walking with their heads down next to you, you going horizontal. This will happen to all of us. So, time is flowing at the same time, but one can handle their energies differently. If you're energized in such a way that what somebody can do in 10 days, you can do it in 1 day, then if you live for 100 years, you actually lived for 1,000 years. At least people will experience it that way. Because what someone else does in 10 days, you're doing it in 1 day. Your time is multiplied in terms of activity. This is something that we have to bring into the businesscape of this world, because there was a time when the quality of what happened on the planet or the dominant force on the planet was religious leadership. They're badly messed up. Because of that, slowly, when the military machines in the world built up, the military leaders became the most dominant power. And in the last 100 years, democratically elected leaders became the most dominant forces on the planet. But we have come to a place where in the next 15 to 20 years, you will see, already it's happening, but a dramatic shift will happen, that the business and economic leaders will dominate the planet. Now, businesses have grown to a place where they're even bigger than nations. When something so big happens to you, when you start managing large situations, what it means is, every thought that you generate, every emotion that you generate, every action that you perform impacts millions of people. When such a privilege is given to you, that you can impact millions of people's lives with just a thought or an emotion or an action, I think you must work upon yourself. If you think the work that you're doing is important, the most important thing in your life is you must work upon yourself. Because it's like this, if you are sweeping the street, we won't check how clean your hands are. We're not interested. Suppose you are selling fruit, cutting fruit, cut fruit you're selling on the street. Now we will look at your hands, how clean are they? Suppose you are the surgeon and you need to conduct a surgery, now we are very interested that your hands are super clean. So similarly, depending upon how much access we have into everybody's lives, that is how important it becomes in our lives as to how clean we are, how risen we are within ourselves, because now people have given access or we have found access into millions of people's lives. Now it becomes important that we constantly work upon ourselves. Business leadership or the economic leadership in the world has an albatross around its neck. People think you are a vested interest. They are only interested in their profits, they are not interested in anybody. It is time. It is time business leadership evolves from their personal ambitions to a larger vision of making a difference, because you are no more a kirana shop. You have become a major force on the planet. Everything that you do impacts the entire population on the planet. When such a possibility has come, it is important that you get rid of this albatross that you are just profit-making machines. You are creating something for the well-being of humanity. You are making a difference because economic activity determines how people live on this planet, and that activity is in your hands. Governments can make policies, but you got to run businesses. So it's very, very important that global business leaders understand that they should think beyond their quarterly balance sheets and see what is it that they're creating, what is their legacy for tomorrow, and what is the impact they're having on everybody's lives, because you have impact. You have placed yourself in a position, you have impact. The choice is it a positive impact, is it a negative impact, or are we just passing by? This is the choice. So these are not times of uncertainties, this is a fast-moving world. If you're afraid of speed, you think it's uncertainty. If you know how to handle a machine, if you know how to handle a car that you're driving, speed is joy. If you don't know how to handle it, then speed is anxiety. So right now, we are going at a certain speed, nobody should complain. If you have any questions, please. As I told you, you heard the question? What is the way to reduce the number of
Because
hours?
you see, as a doctor, we feel that 8 hours or 7 hours or 6 hours is really required for the human body to function properly.
Okay.
And if I can reduce my sleep to 5 hours, I'll be very benefited by this show at least.
As I said earlier, we are interested in the mango, we are not interested in the tree. How to reduce the number of hours of sleep? You don't try to reduce the number of hours of sleeping, because rest is the basis of activity in our lives. Now, we must understand, the body is not looking for sleep. Body wants to live, but it needs rest. So question is, as you sit here, are you restful or are you restless within yourself? If you know how to keep this very restful, you will see sleep quota will go down by itself. It will naturally go down by itself because you're restful, you're not… It is like you're driving a… let's say you're driving a car or a machine. If it drives at an easy RPM or revolutions per minute, it will last long. But if it is at a hyped level of RPM, it'll wear out very fast. So the same thing with this. If you see how to bring this down, that you are not in an excited state, you're in a… Say, have you noticed this? On a particular day, you're very joyful, your friends came, something happened, you're very happy. That day, if you don't eat, if you don't sleep, you have no problem. Have you noticed this? So, it is also the level of joy. Are you dragging this body through this world, or is it floating ahead of you? There are many aspects to this. What kind of fuel is going into this, first of all? First of all, to understand what kind of fuel is this body designed for. When you get a machine, you must know what kind of fuel goes into it, isn't it? You get a petrol machine and put diesel into it, it may still go on, but not at its optimum level, and it will get into problems very quickly. What kind of food is going into this is very important, because you're making this body out of the food that you eat. In this country, in this culture, there's an elaborate understanding of Depending upon the nature of your activity, what kind of food should you eat? If you're doing menial jobs, you eat one kind of food. If you're doing, physically exuberant activity, you eat another kind of food. If your work is intellectual, you eat another kind of food. If you have turned spiritual, you eat another kind of food. Depending upon the type of activity you wish to perform, accordingly, food has to be adjusted because it's just fuel for the activity that you're performing and to maintain this body. Above all, if you're restful by the very nature of who you are, we can do this to you. If you invest 20 to 30 minutes a day, you will see in 6 weeks' time, we will bring down your pulse rate, your blood pressure, neurological responses, everything to a very nice, easy pace. Once you come like this, you will see immediately sleep quota will go down. Right now it's in hyper state, it needs a lot of sleep. Please, anybody, please take the mic.
Guruji.
Raise your hand, the mic will…
Yeah. I just want to ask you, what is the meaning of happiness? Because every individual happiness is different.
There is no meaning. It's just that if you know how to be joyful, then you don't want to be any other way. What is the meaning? There is no meaning. First of all, what's the meaning of your existence? You're born and you will disappear and die one day. Yes? So you must understand this. Before you and me came here, countless number of people have walked this planet. Where are they? All topsoil now. You will also become topsoil, me also, okay? Don't think only you. You will also become topsoil unless your friends choose to bury you real deep, fearing you may rise from the dead. There have been some instances at least, where somebody rose from the dead and lots of things happened. So, the question is just this: have you been happy sometime in your life? Have you been miserable? You make your choice, okay? You make your choice. I am not telling anybody you must be happy. If you like misery, what's my problem? I have no problem. It's just that I like to be among joyful people. My wish is, if the entire world becomes joyful, it'll be a better place to live for me. I'm just trying to create that. I am not instructing anybody, you must be joyful. But it is in the nature of life, not just human life, it is in the nature of life, if it is possible, from a worm to an insect to a bird to an animal and to a tree, everybody is trying to be as exuberant and full-fledged as possible. Human beings, they become little depressed because they don't know essentially how to handle their own cerebral capabilities. This is a new happening, This cerebral possibility in the evolutionary scale of things, it's a new possibility. You know Charles Darwin? You heard of Charles Darwin? He told you that you were all monkeys, not me, him, okay? He told you were all monkeys, your tail fell away and you became human, you know the story. He said something like this, I'm making this very simplistic. He said something like this, a goat could have become a giraffe, a pig could have become an elephant over many millions of years. But a monkey became human rather quickly, Genetic scientists are saying the DNA difference between a chimpanzee and you is only 1.23%. 1.23% is not much of a difference, isn't it? Not much of a difference. Between chimpanzee and you, that is how close you are physiologically. But in terms of your intelligence and awareness, you're worlds apart. Or in other words, your problem is just this: you have an intelligence for which you don't have a stable enough platform. We can give you a simple technology with which you create a stable platform so that your intelligence works for you. If your intelligence worked for you, would you keep yourself in the highest level of pleasantness or unpleasantness? Pleasantness. If unpleasantness is happening, you must just understand this. You can call it stress, you can call it tension, you can call it misery, you can call it depression, call it whatever you want, you can find more exotic names to it. Essentially, your intelligence is turned against you. Once your intelligence turns against you, no force in the universe can save you.
Sadhguruji, I would like to… Can I ask the question?
Yes, please, sir.
The main focus should be on stress management, because if your stress is under control, you need a less sleep, you can do away, you are cool, your life also goes up. Do you think that is the mantra you would like to give?
No. This happened to me when I first went to United States many years ago. Everywhere I went, people were talking about stress management. I could not understand why would anybody want to manage stress. Because in my understanding, we manage things which are precious to us. Our family, our wealth, our business, our money, we want to manage all these things. Why would anybody want to manage stress? Then it took me some time to see that people have made a conclusion that stress is a part of their life. Stress is not a part of your life. Stress is just this. Stress is not in your work, stress is not in your family, stress is not in the world. It is just your inability to manage your own mind, which is stress. You don't know how to manage your mind, you do not know how to manage your body, you do not know how to manage your energies, you do not know how to manage your chemistry. You're kind of blundering through life. I'm asking you, is it true that this human mechanism is the most sophisticated machine on this planet? Do you agree with me? I'm asking you, have you read the user's manual? No. Just somehow do it. If you somehow do it, you think stress is normal, depression is normal, misery is normal. These are not normal. Joy is normal. As a child, you were joyful, just by nature, isn't it? Now you are thinking misery is normal. No, this is simply because without reading the user's manual, you're trying to blunder through life. Well, when you manage things accidentally, anxiety is natural.
Hi,
Excellency,
Mr.
sir.
Andy I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm
want to go ahead?
the founder of
I'm sorry,
Hyperloop
I could not hear that.
I am the founder of Hyperloop Transportation Technologies. When you manage a global company like I do, I feel the responsibility of my choices because I know that this influences millions of people, today and in the future. So I try to give myself a rule. If something hurts me, the people around me, or the planet, I don't have to do it, right? But the problem is that a lot of the time, these kind of choices are also influences your investors or people that actually believe that they can make money
Those
in your
people
company.
who give you an existence.
Exactly. So how do you, reconcile these two forces that apparently are working one against each other?
So those who give you an existence, now they are the problem. We have to rethink this. It's because of their investment you exist, but now they are the problem. It's always like that. See, when you need money, you'll go to many places, sometimes beg, sometimes crawl, do whatever. Once you get the money, you always think one who gave you the money is a big problem. That is a natural thing, They seem to be the obstacle in your life, but your entire stuff got started off because of them. Well, we need to look at this. We must understand this. There are many components to running any situation. Conducting any situation, there are many components. And when it comes to economic activity, money is an important component of that. With other aspects of our life, money may not be a great component, but with economic activity, money is an important component, that's what it's about. And now the source of money is the problem in our life. No. If you… it's like this. See, if you borrow money from anybody, let's say you gave me $1 million, or I gave you, let's keep it this way, because you are the ones who is afraid of investors. If I gave you $1 million and I did not see you for 2 years, but you made this $1 million into $100 million. So if I come to see you, what will you do? You will welcome me. In India, you will put a garland around me, all right? And then if I say, please, my money, you will say, okay, what else? 10% more, 25% more, maybe $2 million you will give me and send me. But I gave you $1 million, in 2 years you squandered this completely. Now if I come towards your house, terror will arise. You think I'm some kind of a demon who is coming in pursuit of you. So this is always the problem. If what has been given to us, if we have multiplied it, if we have made it into a great fortune, then we really appreciate the people who gave this initial thing to us. If you have not made much out of it, then it terrorizes us. This is a natural consequence.
Mr. Rana Kapoor?
Holiness, sir, you've given a lot of personal advice, but we are sitting at the Global Business Summit, #1 platform for India in the world, sponsored by Yes Bank and Economic Times. But the main point…
We know who you are now.
Sir, I have a very simple question, because we need to translate your brilliance, which is exuding at a personal level, and how do you sometimes migrate that? How do you really, create how do you embed that in corporate enterprises to create the transparency, the governance, and to create, total top quality institutions in our country who should be able to lead India's future growth? And this is completely distinct and somewhat away, and I've heard you speaking on this subject even better than you did earlier today.
So we must understand India. India is a land of too much genius and very little organization. Every individual thinks he's a genius. There is a certain amount of genius, but not enough organization for this genius to find, action, proper action. We are a very rich bowl of talent, but not a great soup yet. Because even if you have all the ingredients of soup making, you still need a chef to make a good soup. If I give the same ingredients of soup making to all of you, I'm sure all of you will not come up with the same kind of soup. So, one big lacking in India is leadership and organization, which is what right now the present administration and everybody is trying to focus on and get that organization going. If you if you go sit in maybe you don't do that because you are a chairperson of Yes Bank, but if you go to a local tea shop, you will see the tea shop owner will be advising how Virat Kohli does not know how to hold his bat properly, what he should do. Or he will be talking about how Narendra Modi does not understand how to do this or that. Only problem is, he does not make good tea. Everything else he knows. Everything in the universe he knows, except that he doesn't know how to make good tea. But he's a tea shop owner. This is something we need to control a little bit. I think this is a consequence of 250 years of occupation, that there was no room for Indian genius to find expression. The only thing left was obedience. Because of this, people started talking about all kinds of things, except what they need to do, because anyway there was nothing to do. People are not allowing you to do anything, so you develop this kind of mentality, I think that is slowly exiting now. People are focusing on what they want to do. That change is happening now rapidly in the last 10–15 years' time. We need to accelerate that change if we want the benefit to reach this generation of people. We must understand this, that there are many great achievements in this country today. Our space research centers are sending crafts to Mars and, 103 satellites on a single rocket, and many scientific achievements. There are great enterprises being built in this country, many things happening. But of all these things, one of the greatest achievements of India is this: our farmers, without any technology, without any infrastructure, are still managing to feed 1.3 billion people. But at the same time, this same farmer who gives me food, his children are starved out and he wants to take his life. I hang my head in shame because we are eating the food that he grows, but his own children are starved. This is because we have not set our priorities right. We get excited about something that the world is doing and we start doing that. It is time, and that is beginning to happen, but not fast enough for me because I am engaged in rural societies on a daily basis, and what's happening is not good enough for them. Yet, hope it will change, and change is coming, but it has to happen very rapidly, otherwise one generation's life will go by. Why I'm saying this is, see, as a nation, our poets may elegize the mountains that we have and the rivers that flow and many things. Yes, all that was true, but today for 1.3 billion people, you neither have the needed rivers, nor mountains, nor forests, nor a piece of land, nor a piece of sky for 1.3 billion people. The only thing we have is a population. Now, if we make this population 1.3 billion highly skilled, educated, focused, capable, inspired population means we will be a miracle like no other. But if we fail to do this, if we leave a badly nourished, unhealthy, unfocused, unskilled population, we are looking at the greatest disaster possible. There are many aspects to this. Why I'm saying this, I know you're running a bank, you may think it doesn't concern you, but it does. Because today, we're talking about uncertainties. Some of the uncertainties that we are facing is, hydrocarbon resources, we will run out of them in the world, not just in India, let's say in 50 years' time. The coal may last for 100 years, but the oil and gas will be over in 50 years, that's estimates. The shift to whatever energy and other things is not rapid enough. It is still nominal. It is not a solution, it is only… we are still doing alternative energy for satisfaction, not for solution, yet it's not taken on that kind of scale. It'll take some time, there are various aspects, technological and other aspects. But all this we may handle. But one of the biggest problems in the country is, right now, the depletion of water resources and soil. As when I said, the greatest achievement is we are providing food to the people of this country. This is because we had most fabulous soil in this country. 12 months of the year we can grow what we want. If you come to Tamil Nadu, on the same piece of land, they do 4 crops in a year, okay? Nowhere else on the planet does this happen. Farmer is ingenious because of a long history of agriculture, but our soil is depleting to a point, because one thing is there's no green cover, that means not enough leaf and animal droppings are not there, there is not enough trees, and we are slaughtering our animals and exporting it to other countries. Without animals and trees, you cannot maintain the soil quality. There is no way you can do that. and we have seriously neglected this. And all rivers in this country are depleting on an average 8%. I want you to just imagine, average 8% of depletion means in 15 to 20 years, most of our rivers will be seasonal, not perennial. Rivers which have flown as perennial sources of water for millions of years, in 2 generations, they are going to become seasonal. Already Kaveri doesn't reach the ocean almost 3 months. 2 states are at war with this depleting river. Krishna doesn't reach ocean for almost 4 to 5 months. Like this, it's happening everywhere. If we want, all other uncertainties we can handle, but if we run out of water and the ability to generate food for the population that we have, then we are facing a serious disaster. Every business, everybody who's interested in a reasonably stable platform to run their businesses have to focus on these aspects. Without this, there will be an uncertainty that we cannot handle.
Sadhguru, with your due permission, we'd like to conclude this question-answer session. On behalf of the Times Group, I'd like to thank you profusely for that wonderful address. Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause for our special guest this evening, Sadhguru.
Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/ETNow and don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at ETNowLive. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/user/ETNow.